Have you ever had a really strong gut feeling about something, almost like a whisper in your heart, but then you brushed it off as just another random thought? We all have that constant chatter in our minds, right? Ideas, worries, to-do lists. It's like a busy highway of thoughts. But what if I told you that some of those thoughts are actually something more? How do you tell the difference between the everyday mental noise and a genuine nudge from the divine? That's exactly what we're going to explore today. We're going to dive deep into how you can learn to recognize God's voice, distinguishing it from your own thoughts, so you can finally tune into that guidance with crystal clarity. Let's start by understanding the nature of our own thoughts. Our minds are incredible, constantly processing information, reliving memories, and imagining futures. This internal dialogue is often driven by our experiences, our fears, our desires, and our ego. It can be loud, repetitive, and often it's rooted in logic or emotion. For example, you might be debating a decision, and your mind brings up all the pros and cons, all the what-ifs, and all the potential criticisms from others. This kind of thinking is analytical, and it's a normal part of being human. It's the voice that says, "Don't do that. It's too risky," or "You have to do this to impress someone." It's often reactive and tied to our survival instincts or social conditioning. Now, let's contrast that with what divine guidance feels like. When God speaks to us, it often comes in a very different way. It's not usually a booming voice from the clouds, although for some it might be. More often, it's a quiet, gentle, and persistent impression on our hearts. It's a feeling of peace, a sudden insight, or an idea that seems to come out of nowhere, yet feels deeply right and true. Unlike our own anxious thoughts that often create confusion and turmoil, a divine prompt brings a sense of clarity and calm, even if the guidance itself seems challenging. It feels like a loving suggestion, not a demanding order. It doesn't use fear or pressure to motivate you. Instead, it encourages and uplifts. It's the kind of thought that, when you follow it, leads to unexpected blessings and growth. So, how can we get better at telling them apart? The first key is to pay attention to the feeling, the energetic signature behind the thought. Our own thoughts, especially the anxious ones, often feel heavy, frantic, or constricting. They might cause your shoulders to tense or your stomach to churn. They circle around and around, creating a loop of worry. Divine guidance, on the other hand, feels light, expansive, and peaceful. It brings a sense of release and rightness. It might be a single clear thought that cuts through all the mental clutter and then leaves you with a feeling of quiet confidence. It's not repetitive in an obsessive way. It's persistent in a gentle, reassuring way. Think of it like this: your own thoughts are like a noisy, crowded room, while God's voice is like a single, clear bell ringing through the noise. Another practical way to discern the difference is to check the source of the motivation. Ask yourself, is this thought rooted in fear or in love? Our ego-driven thoughts are often based in fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of scarcity. They push us to compete, to protect ourselves, to control outcomes. For example, a thought like, I need to get that promotion at all costs, even if it means stepping on someone else, is likely coming from the ego. But a divine prompt is always rooted in love for yourself, love for others, and love for God. It will guide you toward actions that are compassionate, patient, and for the highest good of everyone involved. It might be a thought like, reach out to that friend who seems down, or take that leap of faith on a new project that will help people. The outcome is about service and growth, not just personal gain. A third technique is what I call the stillness test. Our minds are loudest when we're busy and distracted. To hear the quiet whisper of the divine, we need to intentionally create moments of stillness in our day. This doesn't have to be a 2-hour meditation session. It can be as simple as taking 5 minutes to sit quietly with a cup of tea, going for a walk in nature without your phone, or even just turning off the radio in the car. In these moments of quiet, when you intentionally let go of the need to think and solve, you create space for that inner voice to be heard. You can simply ask a question in your heart, like, God, what do you want me to know today? And then just listen. Don't force an answer. Just be open and receptive. The answer might not come immediately in that moment, but by creating this practice, you're training your spiritual ears to listen. Let's also talk about confirmation. When you think you've received a divine prompt, it's wise to look for confirmations. God often speaks to us through multiple channels to affirm the message. This is sometimes called synchronicity. You might get a feeling to call a friend, and then that friend texts you out of the blue. You might be praying about a decision, and then you open a book and a sentence jumps out at you that speaks directly to your situation. Or you might hear the same encouraging message from a sermon, a podcast, and a conversation with a trusted mentor, all in the same week. These aren't just coincidences. They are echoes of the same guidance, confirming that you're on the right path. So, when you receive what you believe is a divine prompt, stay aware, look for these gentle confirmations in the world around you. They act as signposts, reassuring you that you've heard correctly. It's also crucial to remember that this is a relationship. Communicating with God isn't a one-way street or a formula. It's a conversation. The more you engage, the more you'll learn the unique way God communicates with you. Some people are very visual and receive guidance through images or dreams. Others are more kinesthetic and get strong gut feelings or physical sensations. Some people hear words or phrases in their minds. There's no right or wrong way. The key is to get to know your own intuitive language. You can do this by keeping a journal. When you have a strong feeling or a significant thought, write it down. Note how it felt, what was happening at the time, and what happened when you followed it or when you didn't. Over time, you'll start to see patterns, and you'll build a personal library of experiences that will give you unshakable confidence in your ability to recognize God's voice. One of the biggest obstacles to hearing God is our own doubt. We get a clear, peaceful nudge, and immediately our analytical mind jumps in with, "That's silly, that's impossible," or "I'm just making this up." We have to be willing to suspend our disbelief even for a moment and take a small step of faith. You don't have to bet your entire life savings on a gut feeling. Start small. If you feel a nudge to compliment a stranger, do it. If you have a sudden idea to try a new recipe, try it. If you feel guided to take a different route home, take it. By acting on these small prompts and seeing the positive, even subtle, results, you build trust. You're showing God and yourself that you're listening, and the more you listen and act, the clearer and stronger the guidance will become. It's a muscle that gets stronger with use. Finally, let's talk about the content of the message. God's voice will always align with His nature, which is one of love, peace, joy, kindness, and truth. A message from God will never guide you to do something that is harmful, hateful, or dishonest. It will never feed your pride or put others down. It will always lead you toward becoming a better, more loving version of yourself. It will challenge you to grow, but it will do so with encouragement, not condemnation. So, if you receive a thought that causes you to feel fearful, anxious, or prideful, or if it encourages you to act out of integrity, you can be almost certain it's not from God. Use this as a filter. Does the message lead to more peace and love? If the answer is yes, you're likely on the right track. If it leads to turmoil and negativity, it's time to dismiss that thought and recenter yourself in stillness. Learning to discern God's voice is a journey, not a destination. It takes practice, patience, and a whole lot of grace for yourself. There will be times when you're not sure, and that's okay. The beautiful thing is that God's love for you is not dependent on you getting it right every single time. He is patient and will keep speaking, keep nudging, keep guiding you with unwavering love. Your job is simply to keep showing up, to keep creating those quiet moments, to keep paying attention, and to keep taking those small steps of faith. As you do, you'll cultivate an inner compass that becomes more and more reliable, leading you to a life of profound clarity, purpose, and peace. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope these insights help you connect more deeply with the divine guidance that is always available to you. If you found this helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content like this. I'd love to hear about your own experiences in the comments below. How does God speak to you? Until next time, take care and keep listening.